But one of the biggest things that I really wanted to make friends. So every time I talk to somebody, I get super excited about it. And I start talking really fast because Chinese, we tend to talk fast as well. And so in Spanish.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that because I started knowing the language a little bit more, I started cutting some syllables off in Spanish, and,
Wait,
and
did normal Spanish people cut these syllables off?
no, but they just say it really fast, so you can assume based on the
I see.
context of the conversation or the
Okay.
sentence, you can get the gist of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought English would be like that too. So, no, obviously not when it coming to America.
Hey there. Welcome to the Gluten-Free Organic Thoughts podcast, where you are encouraged to express your natural thoughts and views through casual, meaningful conversations that hopefully can lead to learning and understanding new perspectives. To find out more info, visit www.gfothoughts.com. Now, here are your hosts, Michael Wong and Robert Din. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another great episode of Gluten-Free Organic Podcast. My name is Michael Wong, and I'm one of your co-hosts. And today's topic, we're gonna talk about communications and the importance of it. And towards the end of the podcast, we're gonna, throw some, famous people to Din, so that way he can identify whether they're good or, bad communicators.
We're gonna have a little game, huh? You have a little
We'll have
game.
a little game,
Just the boys
All right.
today. No guest.
No guest today, Robert. All right, let's start off with the drinks first. What are you having?
I am drinking sparkling wine as usual.
Sparkling wine, nice.
Yep.
All right. I am drinking my yerba mate tea. Gives me a little caffeine, but my mind a little bit more relaxed. So I actually love. I'm getting more fun of it. So you can use this tea leaf multiple times. This is my second round already. You'll just keep pouring hot water in it.
No Kahlua.
Nah, not Kahlua. It's a weekday, It's a weekday.
Hey,
so
whatever.
You gotta take it easy.
You got sometimes you gotta relax on the weekdays. Like, let's get something to wind down.
That's true. To wind down or to start up, you mean?
Or start up. There's nothing. No one's going out right now. Like, no one's going partying, so there's no wind up.
You're not in Florida. Let me tell you, the party happens every day.
Oh my god.
All right. So the reason why we want to talk about communication, I believe, the last year or so, we've seen communication, people misinterpreted messages, whether it's a newspaper, online, or getting, Twitter, whatever it is, right? And I kind of want to talk about that because that's one of my closest topics I've been focusing on the last year and a half or so, at least from a personal growth perspective. And I kind of want to convey on it because I want to talk about the importance of it. And I want to touch base on a little bit about both of our background. So obviously you growing up in America versus me growing up in another country.
Yeah.
I think communication is different. That comes with, I guess, a little bit part of it, the culture. Part of it is who you grew up with socially, and obviously your family members, things like that, and who do you interact with. How about you, Robert? So I guess when you were growing up, did you have any struggle in terms of telling somebody a message, whether you liked a girl or whether you told a teacher, try to ask a question to a teacher, like, oh, you shy or not? I just wondering.
Yeah. So like my first experience of like not being able to communicate was not, it was like in element, like not element, like preschool, because at home my parents spoke Vietnamese, so like it was all Vietnamese at home, and then I got to school and it was all English. So there was one day, my mom tells me this 'cause I don't remember it. My mom tells me she came to preschool, and the teacher comes up and was like, he's saying something and I don't understand what he's saying. And I was speaking in Vietnamese, like I was saying nước, which is water, and I was like, I want water, and I kept on telling the teacher, and she didn't know what I wanted at all. So that was like the first time that that was the first time like where there's a communication breakdown, right? Like
that's a language barrier at that point, though.
Yeah, like that was just like, oh, at home they're speaking Vietnamese, at school or outside they're all speaking English, right? So it's interesting, right? Like, but I think most of my communication issues come from like Asian culture, where you're like pushed to, like, the parents, when the adults are speaking, you don't talk, right? Like you're
You don't
supposed to
talk back, or you don't talk, or you don't, or you try to just listen in
yeah,
a
you
sense. Yeah.
listen, you don't talk back. Every time you talk back is like you're
It's
disrespecting.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So I like took that to heart basically. Like so every time there was like people adults talking, I like
Yeah.
always was quiet. I never talked.
So do
And
you never ask questions when you're in class?
I very rarely asked questions.
Really? Even though you didn't know idea, I had no idea what you're saying, but never ask any question.
I don't know if there was ever a time where I like didn't understand what the teacher was saying, but like in the end, if I didn't, I would go back
Yeah.
and read the book or do something else.
Gotcha.
It's usually not a raise my hand and ask the question type of person. Like I would just
Gotcha.
never was. I was always
How about socially growing up? Like just yeah, among friends and stuff like that.
among friends. I think
Yeah, like in high school, middle school, even college.
I don't know. I never had like too many problems. Like meeting new people. Like I was in private school for like 8 years, like up until eighth
Yeah,
grade, and so like I those people were good friends. Like everybody I knew for a long time, right?
yeah,
And then going to like a new public school where I knew nobody. Like I don't think I knew how to meet friends. Like it was just like
gotcha.
it was like a new experience. Um, but like I think I met one buddy of mine who I like latched onto, and then from there like he introduced me to other people.
To people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that happened to me too. I think my first struggle was actually when I was obviously going to an elementary school in South America, and my Spanish was a little bit choppy because we spoke Chinese in at home. But one of the biggest things that I really wanted to make friends. So every time I talk to somebody, I get super excited about it. And I start talking really fast because Chinese, we tend to talk fast as well. And so in Spanish.
Yeah.
And so it's a habit, right? And one of the things is that because I started knowing the language a little bit more, I started cutting some syllables off in Spanish, and
Wait,
and
did normal Spanish people cut these syllables off?
no, but they just say it really fast, so you can assume based on the
I see.
context of the conversation or the
Okay.
sentence, you can get the gist of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and part of it is that cool. I thought English would be like that too. So, no, obviously not when it coming to America. But one of the things that speaking of coming to America, I feel like learning slang, cultural slang was a big thing.
Mhm.
It's like, and not only that, as I was growing up in America, slang changed every year.
It
It makes something
changes
else,
fast, yeah.
and it was so hard to keep up,
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of communication socially was awkward for me because I'm like, I had no idea what she just said to me. No idea.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think like I don't know, like it's not about like when we were growing up, I don't think I had a problem keeping up with that stuff.
See,
Um
I did. Because I don't know, maybe because I'm maybe not the I
I
was
think
not
I
the
think
social.
you were in the mode of like you also had to translate it, right?
Oh yeah, so that's a good point because when I was in a language, when I was learning a new language and trying to practice it, I was thinking that, let's say in Spanish, I was
Mhm.
translating that in my head into English
Yeah.
every single time. Now my thoughts, obviously I'm older now, my thoughts are always English first. I had to translate it back to other languages because
Yeah.
I guess what your primary language that you use the most.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the translation part also messes with learning slang too. I'd have the same problem in Vietnamese.
Or I could have just shitty friends who didn't probably not keep up with the culture,
Or
you know.
maybe that, yeah. But like in Vietnamese, like I have to translate it to English before I can like know what
What
it's
you
talking
mean?
about.
You saying when you speak Vietnamese, you have to translate that in your head into English,
Kind
or
of.
the other
Like
way around?
it's like quick. It's like a fast translation, but still like
Yeah,
I have to do a translation. So if someone says something in slang to me in
yeah,
Vietnamese, like it takes me a second to kind of understand what they're trying to say
yeah,
because I think it's because like Vietnamese, I have to try to understand what they're trying to say to begin with, right? So I'm already like in a mode where I'm translating, and then and then they're saying some other thing that doesn't make sense, and then I have to like
yeah.
rethink it, right? So I think that's what it is. Like the translation part like hurts slang, like hurts your understanding of slang, um,
That
a
part of
lot.
it is too because obviously it's not straightforward, right?
Yeah.
But I think for me it was just more like how do I keep up with this every single time? Even nowadays, if we
Oh man, nowadays
nowadays
kids
it's
say
crazy.
things that I was like, I don't even know why you're saying this, right? There was Like, have you seen that YouTube video of the girl who's like, uh, who is like fax, no printer, like copy, paste, I don't know, like she says all this stuff, and I'm like, who the heck talks like this? Is this how they talk these
Well,
days?
who did how do you even come up with, right? So
Yeah,
like, I have no clue, but I mean, so obviously, going back to the original topic, it's like, so socially growing up, obviously that affects us, right? And then not only that, I think dating wise, that if you don't see that happening communications in within our family, it's kind of hard to go into a relationship like as well, right? So for example, my parents, I never really see them talk seriously among each other. They always do it privately. So I never witnessed that along, whether how much you should be able to talk to your partner, right? So I remember my first couple in relationships, I was just very unemotional. you know
unemotional. I could say that too. Like my first relationship,
yeah,
I
because you
didn't
just didn't
I didn't
know.
know how I was supposed to feel. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
or
like
even convey it, to be honest with you.
yeah, and no, and like I didn't know that that feeling was something that I needed to say or like that I needed
Yeah,
to acknowledge, right? Like I just thought
correct.
I was like, oh, okay, like this is cool.
Yeah,
Like I was I was like, oh yeah, sure. I don't know, like
and I think maybe it could be a cultural thing. Again, so I,
yeah.
I think in obviously I remember my first girlfriend was Hispanic. Obviously, she was a little bit more outgoing, so she was trying to get me to kind of get my emotions going or try to convey how I feel, talk things like that. And it was interesting because it's not that I struggle with it; it's just that I wasn't used to it.
I think
So,
for me, I didn't know how to interpret. I just didn't know how.
oh, that's part of it too. To be honest with you, for
I
me,
didn't
yeah,
know what it meant. Like I didn't know what any of this meant, and I didn't know how.
it's on
I
you.
didn't know
Yeah,
how to take it from what I'm feeling out and like say it right. Like I just didn't
yeah,
understand it. That was a lot.
yeah.
That was a lot of it.
How about work wise? Have you seen yourself struggling sometimes during work when you begin of your career? Maybe perhaps. Internship.
I think in career wise, like I've always been really strong. I think it's a thing where like I just don't say things that aren't true, right? Like I just always need to know exactly.
What you trying to
I
say
need to
next?
know that what I'm saying is 100% right.
Yeah,
So then people think of me as super quiet. But
yeah,
then when I say so, like I think it was I was working at H&R Block,
yeah,
and they're always talking about taxes and like how to do all these things.
yeah,
Um, and I was always super quiet, and I would just talk to my clients and stuff. And then in the back, like they just like discuss stuff that happens.
yeah.
And then whenever I said something, like people listen, and they're like, "Oh, this guy
Robert's talking now. Oh
Robert
shit!
Robert said
Just
something
talking.
that
What?
means and it was always right. Like what I said was always 100% right because I just never wanted to say anything wrong. So like if I jumped in, everyone was like, "Okay, this guy's saying something and you need to listen," right? So I think that's how like I went through my career a lot of the times.
Even when you interned the first time, like when you were interning, were you like that too?
I didn't intern anywhere. I
Oh
only
really?
worked in
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I didn't intern anywhere. My first job was my first like real job. Like
That's awesome, man. That's great.
and then so yeah, and I did the same thing where I really didn't talk much until you get used to everyone. And then I got more
So how about
outgoing.
school projects? How about during school projects? So I'm just wondering, like, you struggling in those things, like, because obviously sometimes school projects, some people want to shine more, and things like that.
I was always okay with letting people decide. I didn't really so
Okay.
if someone wanted to take like the work and say that they did it, like
Yeah.
I never
Go
cared
ahead.
because it's the same grade, right? Like they're not giving
Hey,
it.
you get an A, I get an A,
You
they
get an
get
A, I get an A.
an
All right, that's
A.
fine. I did have a lot of problems with if there was a presentation, then I was
How about like
always
single or
scared.
group presentation?
Either way, anytime I'm
Oh.
in front of like a crowd, and there could be a crowd of people I know or
Mhm.
people I don't know, and I feel very vulnerable in that situation.
So I feel you to a certain point, because so in fifth grade, I took like a art, sorry, like an acting class, drama class in South America, and so I was in a couple of shows, things like that. So stage present wasn't a big deal for me. It was more like, oh crap, I gotta do this on my own without the group. That's a whole different story. So like
Oh,
everybody's looking at you,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So if it's just you, then you have a problem.
Yeah, I had a little. So, and obviously, when I major in engineering, they're not gonna teach you a presentation. They're not gonna
Yeah,
teach you
they don't
about.
teach you that.
Yeah. Oh, like, hey, make sure you have a good PowerPoint, present all the facts. But you, little do you know, if you cannot keep people up away from your presentation, you're not gonna convey anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I kind of learned that along the way my junior year. I'm sorry, sophomore year, and I was like, you know what, I need to figure out how to story tell this better. And that's why I joined a Toastmasters locally in Gainesville. And that was my first real exposure to like real talking people who could actually communicate, actors, people who are salesmen. Like, like I
Yeah.
was like, wow, mind blown by that. Like,
Yeah, in high school I joined a group that I think they were like the golden, like is a golden keys or something, key club or something.
oh yeah,
Um
the for the key for the key for the blue. No, hang on.
something like that. But yeah, it was like a, like we were attached to a real organization. So we went to like a conference and stuff, and at the end we went to like their dinner, and we all like stood up and talked about what we learned and what we saw, and
You talk
that
about the
was
honor society for the golden key. That's what it is.
um
Was that it?
I don't think
Or
so.
is the for the blue key? Was it for the blue key? I forgot what it was.
No,
But I know where you're going with that though.
something with
But
like it was a
yeah.
gold key. Like I know there was some sort of gold key involved. Um, but yeah, it was. But yeah, like we went up there, we talked, and like I was so nervous just to talk about like my
Yourself?
experiences, and
Yeah.
it's something like now that like I'm like, oh yeah, if I gotta talk about myself, I guess I can
Is
say
there a
a little.
video of that?
No, no, it was in high school, so like,
I know,
and it was
so no,
just like three of us, like the three people starting the club, and then talking
wait,
to
but how big's the group though total?
the people there. It was maybe like 30, 40 people, and they're all adults, like older
Gotcha. Okay.
adults,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Um, so yeah, we were just talking about going to a conference and like what we learned and stuff,
Gotcha.
and it was so scary to me.
So my sister took debate. I wish I took take a debate in high school, but my sister took it. She was a shy little girl going into ninth grade, and she took debate ninth and 10th, actually all 4 years. And she came out after 4 years. She was like really strong, not shy at all, able to gather facts. I feel like if I would take in debate, I would have been also a better listener as well. I think communication goes both ways, being able to be a good
For
listener.
sure, yeah, like to be able to have a good conversation and to connect with someone, you have to be
Yeah,
actively listening, which is
yeah.
something that
It's hard to do though,
you have to
believe it or not.
develop, right?
Yeah.
Like when you first go up and like you're meeting people, and you're like conversations end. They just like, oh hey, how's it
What's your
going?
name?
Yeah, what's it?
What do you do for a
And then you
living?
run out of questions, and then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's it. That's
That's
how
how
the
that's how I
conversation
felt
goes.
like every single college party. Hey, what's your name?
I know, and I think that's how in like I think in college that's how I was meeting girls too. Like it would just be
Yeah.
like, hey, how's
Well,
it going? And then oh, I don't know what to say next, and
well,
so
that's where I became a little bit more. So I told myself, you know what, in college, I'm gonna reinvent myself. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to myself in a position where I had to talk to people every single day. I knew people. And so I took a desk job at the dorms where I had to give keys to people or sign them in, things like that. And I had to meet every single person that was coming in through the desk. They had to come through the desk to get a key, or they had to go to the desk to get to the dorm, right? And then I also did an IT job where I had to talk to mission officers or customers who needed computer fixes, things like that.
yeah.
So it was definitely interesting because it was two different dynamics. Like it's hard to talk to drunk girls when they come in losing the keys, but when I remember my very first day in that job, and you get overwhelmed, right? People lined up checking in the dorms, and let me tell you, like there are impatient students there. They just
Yeah.
want to move the shit right away. And so communication breaks down, like under pressure. It's a whole different story. I remember like I would make sure I don't give the wrong key, things like that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Um, but also not only that you had to give them the direction, how to show them how to go it. Make sure you take the elevator. You only have 30 minutes for this elevator, like
Hmm.
all the spiel. Because if you don't tell them all one thing, it cascades downward and it screws everybody's schedule up.
Yeah. 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 Oh wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, that feels like a lot of pressure. I don't think I had any job where I felt that much pressure. Like there's like always a lot of like stress in like deadlines and stuff, but
Yeah.
nothing like that where I'm like, oh, there's too many people, and now I am super stressed. Oh, maybe at
Were you
Walgreens or
shy though?
something.
Were you shy when in high school?
In high school,
Were you considered shy? Just wondering.
um,
Because I was. I was very
I
shy.
would say so. But it was more that I moved to new schools all the time. Once I knew,
Because you were the new kid, right? I guess you were the new
once
kid.
I met people and I like got, once I was close to people, like I got opened up a lot. And that's usually what happens. Like it takes me a little while to like connect with people, and
Yeah.
then I'm super open. There's people now that like who know me, and they wouldn't think that I was ever shy. So it just depends on the people, I guess.
Same here. People think that I'm so social, that I'm very outgoing, but that's because I had to push myself to be this way, because I'm a natural introvert, believe it or not. If I'm alone, I'm alone. Like, I want to be alone. I like being alone. No big deal.
I can't see that, Mike. I really can't.
Really?
Even knowing you, like I don't know. It's you're always out and about doing stuff and
But doing by myself
communicating
though.
with people. No, like for me, like I can go maybe like a week or two without talking to, and
Now I think I can do that. I've done that during COVID time. Actually, I've gone where MIA from people. Like, it was easier.
I
So
guess so. I don't know. I've
yeah.
never heard you like you're always talking. You talk to like hundreds of people. I feel like you're always in communication with like hundreds
No,
of people.
it's
And
so
it's
what
not, it might not be like all at once, but it's like, oh, it feels like you have new people that you're communicating with, or like
you're talking about now, right now.
reconnecting with.
You're talking about now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't know.
so one of the reasons why I started this podcast, we started with this podcast when we were talking about this before, right? Like, hey, how can we talk, rekindle some friendships and stuff like that, right? How can we talk to people and communicate and get some, this natural conversation going on that's hard to do when you're not in person, right?
Hmm.
And before that was happening, I went MIA a few times where I didn't talk to anybody, like,
Oh, I see.
and I was getting worried that I may not be able to keep up the network either.
Oh, I
And that's the
see.
reason why I want to do this podcast with you. Like, and it was that's when the moment hit me. Okay, wow, I went a week and a half without talking to people seriously about certain things.
That makes sense. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I've definitely gone for weeks without talking to anybody that doesn't run into me, right? Like
yeah,
if you don't run into me, like I'm not really talking to anybody. Um, so I definitely see like my introvert, like me being an introvert, and me feeling like that. And there's people who know me who are just like, no, you're not an introvert. I've never seen you be introverted at all. And I'm like, I don't know. You don't see me every day, and I feel like that's the same with you, right? Like it's like you don't see me when I'm like at home on my couch, loving being by myself. Like
yeah.
that's
Part of the reason why I come to the office here is just because I want to be away from my roommates. I really don't want to see them. Hopefully they're not listening to this sometimes, but
hey guys.
But,
Mike doesn't want to talk to you. That's
no, I mean, even in LA, I loved that I was half of it by myself. My roommate was never there, which is great,
hmm.
But I learned to appreciate that more. But what I was getting out, transitioning from high school to college, I told myself, you know what, I have to build my network. Otherwise, I cannot let high school repeat itself again. And where I had to change. That's where I think I became more subconsciously aware of what I was doing with certain communication type of thing. And yes, growing up, people told me that sometimes I speak too fast, I get too energetic, things like that. And it
Hmm.
happens at work too as well. And the fact that I just want to be able to own it, like, control,
Control it.
not control, just own it at the right time, the right speed. Yes, able to manage that. You know what I mean?
Ah, yeah, yeah. That makes
So
sense.
it's gonna happen. It will, no matter what. And but able to use it to my advantage. That's the
Mm.
key.
Yeah, that's true. If you can manage it, if you know when when you can be fast and when you need to slow down, and
Yeah,
when like being able to control how you're talking and the communication that you're doing, I think that's very important.
yeah.
For me, like I feel like I'm always slow at talking. Like I have to think really hard for every word. I don't know why. Like I was born here.
I think it's
I
good,
should know
but it's good
I should
though.
know all the English words, right? Like
But it's good though. I feel like you're choosing your words more carefully though.
yeah, but then there's times when you need to be quick
On your
on
toes.
your
Yes, true.
toes, and
Yeah.
I struggle with it a lot.
So going back to work though, right now. So for me, work wise, I had to think of my toes, especially dealing with clients. I had to know some of the answer, or at least enough to get back to them. Hey, I know this, but I want to double check on something. Like,
Hmm.
so, like, I had to think of my toe in order to respond to my client to make sure that they are just okay. At least okay, you know what? He's just double checking something. At least to not lose credibility.
Yeah, I have struggled with that when going into like meetings and stuff, and if I didn't have the answer, like I told you, I don't like saying something that I don't know the answer to, right? Like, or I don't know it's
What
the
if you
right
get called
answer.
out in a meeting? Hey, Robert, do you know have this? Do you have the answer for this? What do you say?
Yeah, a lot of times I'll just be like, no, I don't have it right now. I'll get back to you on it. Like that's
Okay,
just how I respond because
that's good.
I
Yeah,
hate
you're
saying
honest
the
about it
wrong
though.
thing.
Of
But
course.
yeah, but I think now I have that credibility where I can do that. When
Yeah,
you're new and stuff, it's hard, right? Like
it's super hard.
you're like so scared that you're gonna say something wrong, and you don't know. And but now
I remember.
I think I've realized like it's okay to say it, but before I was so scared.
I remember my first client presentation, like literally by myself, facing the client, 30 people in the room. I was doing a demo on the computer. I was like, so guys, you click the left and click the right here, this one.
Wow, Mike,
And
no
I was like, listen,
energy.
I was like, this brings down this Dropbox here, and this is all the features. I was like, and I was so monotone, and
Yeah,
part of it because I didn't feel confident doing it, and
yeah.
because one, I was just learning on the fly. Two, that was like the maybe fifth to sixth time I was being on the system to make sure that But it was a simple presentation, but I just didn't feel the confident.
Mhm.
And most people tell me, "Hey, fake it till you make it." Right? It's harder than people think it
It's
is.
hard to fake it. It really
It's
is.
so hard to fake it.
I say that too. I tell that to like my
Yeah,
sister. I tell it to people who are out there. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, if you don't know, you just gotta like pretend like you know it, and just go for it. But it's hard, right? Like you have to practice that,
Yeah,
that confidence. Confidence is like something that I don't take for granted
yeah.
because it's not always there. It wasn't always there for me. So
Me
like,
neither. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's something that like when I'm thinking about like what you need for like work and for to get through life, like that's
Well,
something that's very
confidence,
important.
right?
Yeah.
Confidence comes with a little bit of self-esteem as well.
Hmm.
And the fact that, especially growing up, I didn't think about either of those two relationship at all, right? Whether it's confidence, self-esteem, you don't think about it. You just
Yeah.
develop. And and obviously, my parents being busy at work, they don't know anything like that kind of stuff. And part of it is obviously who you hang out with, or what do you do at school, what kind of activities you do at school. You develop that self-confidence, that self-esteem in order to be able to kind of communicate, to be honest.
Yeah.
And if you don't develop that earlier now, sometimes it's a hinder, to be honest with you. It does.
Did you
So
ever I don't know if you did this, but like I used to watch like TV shows were really bad where they would be like these people would break out into monologues and just have like the best speeches on the fly that you ever seen. And I always was like, man, I wish I could just do that and just go in, and I could never do that type of thing.
so so I used to watch a lot of whose line is it anyway,
Hmm.
and I was like, man, these people are just so good. Like, how did they make up shit like this on the fly?
Yeah.
I was like, I can't even try to make up shit on the fly.
Yeah, yeah. That's how it is.
But they do it with such a confidence because it's fun and it becomes funny.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you do it without confidence, it's not funny at all. It's
That's
like
true.
it's awkward.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's so awkward.
Maybe that's what you need for your random monologue crazy speech. It's just you need confidence. Just say it with your chest, and then everything works out.
Who knows? But let me ask you this: like, do you think right now, our not right now? I guess when you think our education system that we grew up in has helped us in communication, or do you think it could do more?
I think that you could always do more, but it didn't
Like middle
really.
school, high school, like has like it didn't emphasize it, right? You think?
I don't know. I had a lot of projects where I had to present in front of the class. Um, I think there, yeah, I think
Yeah,
there
so did
was
I,
quite a bit.
but but the things that they didn't teach you the techniques of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They didn't tell you. They just said do it, and then you
Yeah,
just do it,
you
and
just
like
do
you
it.
don't know if you're doing it bad. And I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure we're all doing it bad.
correct. Yeah.
Bad job.
I remember the science fair in like middle school or high school. You had to build a science fair, and then you had to do the poster. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
three
yeah,
poster
yeah,
thing. You got presented in front of people, and they gave you an award.
yeah, yeah.
What the fuck? I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm like, guys, here's my lemon electricity. I can light a light bulb. That's it. That's what I did. I cannot explain anything else. You want to see light? I can give you light right now. Give me some lemons.
I think there was one time there was a science thing where we had like we did a science fair project, and all I did I think every time I did it, I did the you have a string and then you have salt water and then it evaporates up and the string crystallizes.
Yes, yeah.
I did that every single science fair, no matter
Every single time.
like 100% of my
Wait,
science
wait,
fair.
wait. The teacher that never noticed that?
No, well, I went to different schools every time, right?
Oh
So
my god, so you would be the same experiment.
I did the same experiment every time.
Dude, I got so mad at this one girl because her presentation was crappy, but she just told us such a good story. She got first place over my
Wow.
third place. Oh, I forgot what she did. She did something stupid. What was it? Oh my god, I was so mad about it. Like, it was so simple. It was like
Was
the
it
stupid
strings
experiment.
crystallizing? Because
No, it was something else. I'm trying to remember what it was, but the way she conveyed it, it just told her story, and she was pretty, and she just got first place.
See, there it is. It's just you need confidence and you need a good story, and I think that will take you a
Yeah.
long way. But there was one time where like most of the time I just presented it and then
Yeah.
teachers were just like, okay. Then there was this one science teacher who was like, oh, and I did this one I had done where like if I put it in the fridge versus I put it outside in the window or put it in the like regular, and they crystallize differently. And
Yep.
then the teacher asked me, so why do you think this happens? Like, why do you think this one was more than the other one? And I literally was like, I don't know. Like, I sat there. I was like, oh God, like,
No
this is,
one
I
ever asked me a
didn't
question
even
before.
like think about why this
No,
possibly
no,
would
no.
happen.
You probably like, no one ever asked me this kind of question before.
Nobody asked me that before, and I didn't even think about thinking about why, like,
That's true.
why the differences happen between any of the
Yeah.
science projects. But then I came up with the right answer, like randomly, just blurting out stuff.
See, confidence.
Yeah, it was just like I was like, well, this evaporates slower. Oh, that's what it is. It evaporates slower, and, then, and it went through, and then she was like, oh, that's very good, good answer. I was like,
There
wow.
you go. I just switched though. I mean, if I were to repeat high school, I wish there was a class that it forced everybody to take like a communication class, because at least it helps level up people to a certain level. Listen, when you get to high school freshman year, I don't feel like everybody's in the same communication level. It's just not true. I wish there was something that gives you some kind of foundation, and then everybody could branch off from it.
I think
You know what I mean?
that is a good idea.
Yeah.
What class would you take away for that though?
No, it would be an elective if it's a forced elective.
Yeah, but you have to take away an elective to give them a
Why would you take away with it? I mean, just add on top of that
well, you're gonna add an extra
class. Yeah.
class, so
Yeah.
they're an extra hour in the day.
Yeah. Why not? It's only 1 year. It's only freshman year, and they can build from that.
So only the freshmen have to stay there 9 hours, and the rest of
Yes.
the rest of them stay 8. I think you got the wrong idea of how this works, Mike.
Because at least it helps build a foundation of some kind of communication. Because listen, there's different type of communication, right? So
I think English class should have this. I think they should
No.
incorporate it into English class.
it's harder because English they already got to do so much already, right? If you think about this, there's different types.
Honestly, you don't do anything in English class. You read books and then you present. You read books and you present what the book said, and so that is something that you could teach them how to present it.
Well, yeah, I think that could be part of it, because keep in mind there's also non-verbal and verbal piece, and there's formal, informal.
Yeah,
things
and
like
like
that.
it could just be like a communication class instead of like an English class specifically.
But you still need the English class though, because English class at different grade that they teaches different things.
You could take 9th grade and make it a communications class.
Or you can get first semester communication class and second semester English class. You can do that too.
I don't even know why you need the English class, Mike.
Grammar,
Yeah, but you learn that in like elementary and middle school.
synonyms, and synonyms, antonyms, things like
Yeah,
that.
but you learn that all
Grammar.
like when you're younger, and then you can learn it in 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Right?
SATs.
Yeah, I think or maybe it'll be like a 12th grade, like when you're seniors.
I don't
like,
know,
teach
writing,
you.
preposition, things like that. I mean, technical writing.
No, I get it. Like it's important to learn how to write, but I think that's all part of communication.
Actually, speaking of writing, let me ask you this: when did you learn how to write a proper work email?
I don't think I know how to write a proper work email now. Like honestly, I'm just like I think now, especially in a tech company now, like
Yeah.
it's so informal. It doesn't matter.
Wait, do you do emojis? I'm just curious.
No, so there's no emojis. That's kind of weird, but like
I do emojis in my work email sometimes.
you put
to my,
emojis
to
in.
my, to my clients, because it depends on the client though, right? You gotta feel for it.
Yeah.
Because if they started first, obviously I'm gonna do it. You know?
Yeah. No, I think at work, I think everything is so informal that it doesn't really matter how I talk.
How
I think
about in
at
like
I think at Merrill Lynch I had to learn. I had to like
how
write like
about
I
look
was writing a essay.
how about the IMs and stuff then?
IMs is all informal. I've never written a
You
formal
do
I.
emojis? You do emojis in your
Yeah,
IMs?
yeah.
Okay.
And especially Slack, like there's like custom emojis, so
Yeah.
it's all
So for me, IM is like is ruining me because I tend to write shortcut words, and it's bad. It's
shortcut
bad.
words.
Like for example, what's an example? Um,
Like
um,
because you make it BC.
or I said cuz. Yeah, correct. Things like
Yeah.
that, Yeah, like that.
That's fine. I think
Yeah, but it's bad though because that when you try to translate them to an email and like I'm like, oh, I catch myself a few times doing that stuff.
you know what's funny is like if you're writing all of this like slang words on IM and then people copy it and post and like paste it in like this is from Robert and paste it over as like Robert
Oh,
said this and they like copy word for word what I said. I was like, oh man, like now it's like in Jira, it's like right there. Everybody can see it.
Everybody can see it. This is what Robert said.
This is what Robert said
He
about this
approved it.
specific thing. I was like, oh
He
man,
approved
okay.
it.
All right, I guess that's what I did say it. Like that was what I said.
Well, yeah. So I mean, obviously, communication at work and outside of work is different things. So, but I think like right now because it's so much informal, and I guess the environment is leaning towards less formal in a sense. Obviously, depends on the industry, but I mean, for me, from a client-based standpoint, it's like you gotta get a feel for it. But I did not I guess starting this job, I did not have the confidence to kind of be informed with the client. I was like, yes,
Oh
sir,
yeah.
dear man, yeah, I'll get back to you at your earliest convenience. Thank you for your time. But I always had that last sentence. Hey, thanks for your time. Thanks for appreciate the help. I copy and pasted that all the time. Sincerely, yours
Wait,
truly.
what? You copied the last 4 words of your email every time. You don't just write out "Thanks for your time."
Nope. As I have in my OneNote, I have all the different endings of it. I just copy and paste it. None.
Oh man, yeah. I just write it. Like
It's
that's
too
just what I
long.
write at the end of every email.
It's too long. I say you should. Hey, thanks for your time. Appreciate the quick response. Enjoy your rest of the day. And then
I
essentially,
got like I think it was like after like at Google when I was at
yeah,
Google for a little while
yeah,
as a contractor. They're like the team I was on. They were so meticulous about communication, about like how they said stuff, that it like messed me up. Like after I left
really.
them, I was scared to
How
write
how
any
so?
email.
Wait.
Uh,
How did it mess you up though? I'm just wondering.
because well, when I was there, they like super micromanaged me for one,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
every time I wrote anything, like they were like, "Oh, write this document for us." I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay." So I wrote it up, and they would like scrutinize every word, and they go through every sentence and be like, "Why'd you use this word, this word, this word?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. Like this
Like
is
like selection of words or phrases, things like that.
selection of words, and then yeah, like it's just everything. They just like questioned everything, and
You're a
so
contractor. They have to question you.
I know, but like there's some things you don't need to question, right?
I
Like
know. I know.
why do you
You
have to
probably got
question?
annoyed.
Yeah, it definitely did, and it also like got me paranoid of like everything I wrote.
Oh,
Um,
so you start second guessing yourself.
so I started, yeah, I definitely second guessed everything, and then I went back to Lending Club where I knew everybody, and I was like, they're like, oh yeah, write this email up and send it over, and then I would write it up, I would read it 4 times, I would send it to my manager to like check it before I send it, like it was like that type of like my confidence was shot. Like that's what it was. Like I was like didn't know if I was writing the right thing or not, and
I,
that messed me up for a
I
while.
feel the same way after my recent project. I'm like, wow, I'm questioning my credibility sometimes. I'm like, I need to, because I I had a manager where it's kind of like had to like, hey, let's answer this together with the client. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll share my screen with you. Let's write the email together. And I was like, okay, I guess you have a certain way to specifically tell the client certain things. I guess
Yeah.
maybe perhaps. And I realized I thought it was the beginning of the project, but no, it was the whole entire project was like that. I was like, I guess the way he wants to convey, he wants to
Hmm.
be more detailed, more meticulous, things like that.
Yeah.
And listen, I get it. He's trying to help me out to build my credibility in a sense too.
Yeah.
But at first, but then I'm like, okay, this is happening throughout the project. I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
And it was only certain selective things. It wasn't like every time it's a single email that I had to write to client, but it was like a very important stuff. I'm like, okay, I can write this, though, right? And then every time I did something, he corrected it a little bit, or he put in different structure. Let's say that I had it in bullets. He put it in, number system, whatever it is. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you. Yeah, and obviously you're gonna do whatever you gotta do. So I don't know. It's that exactly the same way you felt.
Makes you second guess yourself.
Yes, everything
you do.
And that part of it is like, because I'm already like in the mode of trying to improve myself already more, but I'm like, shit, am I not improving at all? I'm thinking 5 steps backward now.
You're second guessing your own improvement. Wow, yeah. No, because I used to be just like, oh, I'll write whatever. Like, I'll just write it and send it, and then and I know that it's like in my head, I know it's right? Like, so why am I second guessing it? And now, and then after that, I was like, oh, I second guessed everything. My boss was like, why are you sending this to me? You know this, like, what? You know this is right. Why are you sending this? And why haven't you sent it yet? And I was like, oh, I was just making sure. It was just bad. It was like, I don't know, and like, I don't know. It's to build up your confidence again. It's crazy.
I don't know. Let me ask you this though. Like, now, obviously, with social media, TikTok, Instagram, things like that, you think communication has gotten better, or is it gotten worse? You think has that helped people? You think was that hinder it?
I think, I think it's gotten, I think it both, right? Like, so it's, but it might not be the best way. Like, I think it's hurt people, like communicating always through like text message, which is what I do now. Like, it's hard to have a face-to-face conversation. It makes it harder.
Try to do sarcasm on a text. Let me tell you, it doesn't work.
And sarcasm, like, you don't know how sarcasm works, and if you just met this person, if they're being sarcastic or not, right?
Sarcastic on a tweet.
Yeah, so like that type of stuff. Like, I think we've gotten worse in communicating face to face.
I mean, Robert, this happened to me and you a few times too, because I tried to try sarcasm on a WhatsApp chat and you didn't get it half the time.
And I'm like, Mike, why would you say this? That's such a weird thing to say. And like, oh, you're being sarcastic. That did not. I went way over my head. I was like,
but it doesn't convey the message. I understand what you're
Yeah, so like it's weird, like having all of this stuff, but I feel like people are getting better at communicating messages in short form.
Effective way, you mean? More effective?
More effectively. And it may not always be like for productive stuff, like things like TikTok, where you have 30 seconds to like say, or
get a message across.
10 seconds to get a message across. They get it across super fast, right? Like this, they put it all together, and it's
entertaining sometimes, and it sticks to your head.
Yeah. And then like that's how like Instagram was. Like, you take a picture, but like you take the right picture, it conveys a certain image.
That's true. I mean, speaking of different communication types, I feel like, that's a non-verbal thing, right? Like an image. I feel, when people said, image is word that doesn't work, that's what it means, because it can represent certain things in many different ways. And I think social media has helped it to be more effective, but also at the same time, it has hindered communication, people being lazy in a way.
Yeah, people are lazier, and their shorter attention span is just getting
shorter
worse.
Attention span. That's correct. And it's not, and then it's only good to communicate one way, but not listening.
That's true. I guess that's very true. And like, it's like it's so manipulative too. Like, you can like look at something.
It's very manipulative.
And they can manipulate it whatever they feel like.
Yeah, it's an art. It's an art.
Yeah, have you seen there's a picture of like a soldier pointing a gun at a like someone on the ground, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And they showed like a picture of it, and they're like, this is what some people would show, and they show the guy pointing a gun at a guy sitting on the ground, like, oh, it's helpless guy. Second, and then like if you expand the picture out, he has like a plate of food that he's like forcing the guy to eat. He's like, eat this food. He's starving, right? Like, it wasn't anything.
So it was just to one frame. One frame.
They like crop it so that you see certain things, and I think
that's to narrow that down.
To change the narrative, or like to change it to whatever you want.
This happens in videos too. Keep that in mind. They only show a certain clip of video. We've seen that over and over again in certain things, though. So
it's also like the whole like Facebook thing, where like everyone shows the best moments of their life on Facebook.
Oh, that's true.
And that
And everyone's a happy life in a
yeah,
sense. Like,
everyone's living the best life ever, and you're always like looking at them and be like, man, I wish my life was as good as these.
well, this is also people filming clips of violence situation. They don't know if they don't film the whole thing. They only film 10 seconds of that segment. You don't know how, for example, that cop showed up, things like that. You know, it happens only that they only show that 3 second segment and it gets misinterpreted half of the time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and people jump to the conclusion. I think that kind of hinders the right communication out there.
Yeah. So it changes narratives that it
So much.
yeah,
I agree.
whatever way people want to.
Yeah.
And I think that type of communication has increased a lot during this time, right? Like
during COVID time, yeah, for sure. Because now we have more attention
not just
span
during
to it.
COVID time, like this time, like before, like in the 2000s, we didn't have as much. Like in the
Oh, that's
1990s,
true.
we didn't have as much. Like this
It was
generation.
newspaper though. It was still happening with newspaper though.
Right.
But
It's just in this generation, every generation gets a little bit worse at it, and like or better at it, but it gets worse for like the world, right? That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah. And if you don't have that kind of awareness to question it too, and I
Mm.
feel like you're just gonna believe anything you see.
Yeah, yeah. So it's something we have to work on as a society is to see.
But how do you
the
teach
bigger
that though? How do
picture.
you teach? How do you teach that in high school kids? I say, hey, don't believe anything you see. Just make sure you question certain things. Like, how do you teach that? And I think that's part of communication.
It's definitely part of communication. We have to like make sure that everybody is verifying what they're seeing, right?
It's hard though.
Which is hard to do with people who don't know how to do it, how to verify. They
or
don't
even
or
be
they
aware.
don't or they don't want to. They don't
Oh,
want
that's
to
true.
verify.
Laziness is a huge thing.
Yeah, or they see something that they want to believe and then they just believe it.
That's
Even
true. That
if
happens to a lot of people. That happens to a lot of people.
even if it's not what happened, they don't even want to check it because they want to believe.
That's true. I agree though. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna do the funny MSG session here right now, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about emotions and the art of storytelling a little bit.
All right.
And so, all right, Robert, you want to start with your funny story, or you want to have a meme, or what do you want to share?
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, so I have a story. So I went snowboarding this weekend, right? Went to Tahoe, visited some friends, and went snowboarding for like 3 days. And I'm sore all over, right? Like you go snowboarding. I like last time I went and did anything physical, I went with you, Mike, for my birthday, and we went on a 7 mile hike for no reason, right? So
14 miles, 7 1 mile one way.
oh, it was 14 miles.
Yes.
Oh
7
my
mile one way.
god. Yeah, that's why I felt so bad after that. Yeah. So then this time I went out snowboarding. You're falling down. I'm hurt everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I come home today, and this morning I put on my jeans, and I pulled something. I pulled up too fast, and then something popped.
Wait, you're like a muscle?
I don't know what it was, but like my chest here hurts. Like when I lift my arm, it hurts. I'm like, I got hurt pulling up my pants more than going out and snowboarding for 3 days. Like that's
Did you stretch?
I didn't stretch when I was snowboarding, no. I didn't stretch when I was putting on my pants either. So maybe the moral is I need to stretch when I put on my
stretch
pants.
every morning. Stretch every morning, you know.
I didn't know that it was so.
So does it hurt right now still, or what?
It still hurts. Yeah, it still hurts when I lift my arm like this. It hurts.
Oh,
right down here.
you probably pull some kind of you
Yeah.
strain something probably.
I was like, man, putting on your pants, guys. Watch out when you get old. This is what happens.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Okay. All right. So mine's a little mean clip. Let me find it quickly. Where is it? Where
It's a
is my-
mean clip or a
It's
meme.
not. It's a meme. It's a link. It's an image. Let me find it first quickly.
All right.
There it is, right here. So it is a picture. Oh, sorry. Let me send that to you, Robert, first, so that you can have it. There you go. Did you get it? For some reason, it's still sending. That's kind of bizarre. Give me
Your
one.
your internet's not working.
I don't know. I can hear you just fine. So I don't know clue what's going on, to be honest. But it's still sending.
It's still sending. What the heck?
All right, there you go. It went through now. All right. That was bizarre. Okay.
All right, I see it.
Yeah. So if you open up its title, for those who are not watching this on YouTube with us, it's pretty much titled, what my mom said I never took recorders seriously. And is this kid at a party, and he has a flute recorder in it, and with those holes in the flute recorders there, and he pretty much put a bunch of joints in it and started playing it.
He put a joint in each one of the holes in the
Yes.
recorder, and now he's playing the recorder.
Yes, he's playing the recorder. Or maybe he's inhaling it. I don't know. He could be just inhaling it,
I mean, now he's taking it pretty seriously. That's
Yeah, he's taking it
crazy.
pretty seriously,
That wow, that is ridiculous.
I told you it might not be appropriate, but whatever. Oh my god.
Yeah,
That is so random.
nuts.
That is so random.
That's
Like,
so
who
random.
thinks of this idea? They're in the middle of a party.
How old do you think this kid is?
Ooh, that's tough. 18?
I would. I mean, I hope so, but I feel like he's like 15.
Really? You think? Man, that's
looks
such a
young.
that's such a young age to start smoking like that,
He
though.
looks young. Yeah. I talked to a couple of my friends, and they said they started in high school, started smoking marijuana. I was like, I
Listen,
didn't even know what marijuana was.
listen, I listened to this. What's called the Dare people. Officers. Okay, they told me to stay away from drugs. So
The Dare people, yeah, they definitely
Yeah.
told me. They told me I would
Yeah.
die if I took
yeah,
any drugs.
yeah. I said I wear those shirts proud. So
Yeah, no, I didn't even know. I didn't know what marijuana was, or
Yeah.
that people smoked it until like probably like senior year of high school.
Yeah. That's crazy though. I'm sure at high school parties you've probably seen kids doing that though, especially nowadays, man. It's so easily accessible now.
I didn't go to high school parties, so I didn't see.
I mean, me either. I went to maybe one or two high school parties, but I didn't. Even those were like pretty like we were playing spin the bottle or whatever games it was. It was like nothing to do with drugs,
Very, very. I didn't go to any of those things, so
Really
I didn't know.
PG-13 for me. All right, so let's get back to the quiz conversation. I think I want to talk about a little bit more about using too much emotion during a conversation or using not enough emotion, while communicating, right? And jumping into that a little bit more about, I guess, becoming more aware of it. And I guess for me, growing up, I didn't use enough emotions. Even when I'm talking to presenting to people, or in high school doing presentations, or even communicating with girls, like my face was just, it wasn't even there. Like I guess even though I was excited about it, trying to convey some message, my energy level was there, but I was just not able to communicate it, very emotionally. And I think that was a bad way to like. But I didn't realize that until later on in college.
Mm,
I wish someone would have taught me in a sense that, use emotions to a certain degree to get a better storytelling appeal, to relate more.
yeah, this is also goes down to like when you went to your stand up or your improv class, right? And they were like, "Oh, be 10x energy, whatever you would normally be," and then you're like, "Oh, ouch, that hurt. That hurt my arm or something." And you were telling us on the podcast, and I was like, "That's not really how you're supposed to express that." Like you watch on TV, they're like, like you gotta like really show it.
It's hard. So I'm embracing improv more and more now because one, obviously, they encourage you to be extreme, to be stupid and silly. They encourage you to fail, which is great. I wish I've taken this in high school.
Oh, in high school,
Yeah.
were you
Yeah.
in drama club? I feel like in drama club,
No, I did that fifth grade in South America, but I never took anything else after that.
I never took a drama club, so I don't know.
I wasn't even in a little kids show when I was in fifth grade in South America.
You were in a kids
So
show?
I was in a kids show. I was doing a little acting, little things like that too. Just that whole video of me. My mom has it in VHS.
Wow. See, so you
Yeah.
have it in you. You just didn't
No,
develop it.
I didn't know about it. Maybe I forgot about it, because once you come to America, I was new school. I was shy. I didn't know the language very well, so you don't really you don't have the self confidence, the self esteem, to even try to do things like that.
I
I
think
didn't even know there's an opportunity to do that. Did you knew there was the acting classes or acting clubs in middle school? I didn't even know that.
not in middle school, but in high school there was drama club for sure. But is it drama club that does all of the
Yeah,
like the
I
theater stuff?
I was too focused on
There's a
science, math.
class like drama class, like that's what.
Oh, that's true. There was a drama class. Yeah.
So I knew it was there, but I was like, this is just a way to be broke when you're older. Like that's really like it's the same as like if I went to like band or music, like I was like, this is just a way to be broke when you're like being a musician, being an artist. It was not part of the plan, right? So I never really did any of that. I think a lot of the like I don't think I understand how to express feelings. Um like I know how like to express like, oh, I'm in pain, or like certain things like watching TV and movies you see
Yeah.
people reacting, but like really understanding feelings and like saying what
Did
it
you
means
ever?
is
Let
hard
me ask you
because
this.
I think my family just didn't express that very much.
How about this? So at work, right? Did you ever have to do where you had to express some kind of emotion, feeling in a presentation in order to keep them engaged,
Oh, I
or
don't
try to
think
sell
so.
something, or try to convince them to do something?
Yeah, I'm not really what like my work. I don't really have to I have to convince people. I just don't like. It's all data driven mostly,
Oh,
and then I like I'm pretty
these
good
are
at
the
like
facts. You listen to me right now.
yeah, and I'm pretty good at like throwing in jokes
Yeah,
throughout the presentation so that it's entertaining.
it's not stale.
It's not
Yeah,
stale, but like, and that just like comes off of just like me going through and like talking, right?
got it.
So, yeah, and it's like I think I'm just a sarcastic person, so it just comes out in the presentation. So then I don't have to like do that type of stuff for work. Um, I don't have to have energy. I feel like if you're in sales, like that's a different. Like I never thought I could be in sales because it's
It's
much more
tough.
energy
It's
than
yeah.
I think I have.
But at the end of the day, we do sell ourselves to a certain degree. No matter what, were you looking for a job, or
Yeah,
whether we're what's called trying to get a promotion, things like that, we sell ourselves, right?
yeah, yeah.
So for me, it's I started listening more and more as I got my master's into my master's program. I was like, I'm like, I need to figure out how to kind of like use my tone a little bit more differently, or I had to figure out how to keep people engaged in the presentation during work time. And it was more recently when started noticing more like the last 4 or 5 years that people who are actually good leaders, they able to convey emotion and relate to people really well.
Mm,
So my definition of a great communicator is not only just they just able to kind of deliver the message, but also getting them to believe in it and then act on it and relate to it. And then
yeah,
that's a whole, I feel like that's like a pro level, right? Like that's like a whole pro level. And so I love watching these motivation speakers who, let's say, for example, who give great what's called graduation speeches and stuff like that. Like I I feel like it takes another level of skills to do that
hmm,
and to get the buy-in in it. You've seen crazy, crazy good ones, out there.
yeah. I don't think I like. Yeah, I was a valedictorian of my college or any or my high school or anything. But even if I was, I don't think I could write a speech like that.
Yeah, me neither.
Your light just
Yes.
turned off, Mike.
Yes. It's motion sensor. I can move around a little bit more.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I've watched a lot of those graduation speeches, both professionals and the actual like valedictorian, and some
Yeah.
of them are really good. And I don't know if I could write a speech like that.
Yeah, and so at least if it's one on one, you could practice it, and become better at it, right? But
Yeah,
if you have to give out improv speech, like especially at weddings and stuff like that, like sometimes people just wing it. I'm like, damn,
that's
props for you.
impressive. Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like watching movies and stuff, people just go off on their like
yeah,
their speech or their rant, and like it's perfectly delivered because
yeah.
they've done it 100 times in practice on the before that take happened. But it's impressive.
And this is why I'm kind of nervous about my stand-up show, because I'm not stand-up, so my improv show, because anything can happen. You don't know what the story is, Linus. You're gonna get called out for different games. I'm like, I had to think on my feet, and then
Yeah,
not only that, I gotta just react and bring the energy right there, that feeling right there,
hmm,
and then making sure hopefully that they understand what I'm saying, and hopefully we can
yeah, yeah,
bounce it back and forth.
yeah,
With stand up, you saw me. I was going through lines and bits. I was rehearsing that. I was tweaking the lines. I've been practicing rehearsing again.
yeah,
I struggle with emotions.
yeah. Yeah.
you know.
So
So
this will help you like do that all on the fly instead of having to like being more comfortable on the fly rather than rehearsing it over and over again.
trusting your subconsciousness and just reacting to it, and then bring it forward.
Hmm, that's interesting. Trusting yourself.
Yeah. So like literally, I had to fake it to make it type of deal here.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I'm able to use enough emotion, and that links me to like to like the art of storytelling. And so people who are just good storytellers, like like even just not just only from a verbal perspective, from a non-verbal like writing, like books and stuff. I mean, writers, like SNL writers, just that alone, right? Those folks, let me tell you, like after trying to do one class of stand-up comedy just to write jokes, man, those SNL writers, let me tell you, holy crap, how much hell they go through themselves, Holly.
And the thing is, like, there's writers, and there's like all these shows that they write their shows that week, right? Like
Yeah,
they write it in 1 week, they
and
have
they
it
had to change it because of the person who's acting it too.
right, and they change it as it goes.
Yeah,
Like, it's impressive how much they can write, how much they can get out there, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if I could write one of those in like a year. Like, that's
yeah. That creativity, that's it.
creativity. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I don't know. It's so I admire a lot more about some of those professional comedians who can do stand-ups because they can convey emotion whenever they want. They can control the tempo whenever they want, and they can bring what's called the effectiveness of this. They have to be effective of their jokes because otherwise, if it lingers too long,
Hmm.
it's not effective. And they got to know the timing. I feel like the timing is such a crucial thing in everything, not just stand-up comedy, just in general. Like when do you insert a persuasion or when do you insert a question, when you insert, in any kind of thing, in any
Hmm.
kind of presentation. So
Yeah, everyone's experienced that where like they've said a joke at the exact perfect moment and everyone laughs, and then they've also experienced where they throw a joke that was like
awkward.
awkward, and you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't say that. I wish I took it back. There's
Yeah.
always those points, right? So yeah, it's timing is definitely important. Um, and I think you're right. We're like stand up comedians are like so succinct and effective on
Yeah.
every word that they say. Because if not, the joke it takes too long. Like the
Yeah.
timing is all
The
off.
setup's not correct.
Setup's not right. They
Yeah.
didn't say the whole joke right, and then you don't get all the
Or the
context.
delivery is not correct, or the context not correct,
Yeah.
delivered correctly. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, and same thing for journalism, right? The anchor people, like, listen, they don't rehearse that. They just read the teleprompter really well, and they're gonna be able to deliver that message, the punch, the timing with that too. Journalists, those anchor folks,
Oh
they're
yeah,
good
the
with
news
that.
anchors. Yeah,
Yeah,
just reading the teleprompter, like they don't say on there, oh,
yeah.
pause here, like on there, right? They just
Actually, speaking of teleprompter, have you done the TikTok challenge reading the teleprompter from TikTok? The duet thing.
I have
It's
not.
super hard. I was trying to do one of them. I'm like, it's super hard because it goes so fast.
Wow, really? What was the
So there
TikTok?
are some. So it's one of the TikTok challenges that there's a news anchor person. Hey, can you read this from the teleprompter? You see, you can pass the teleprompter test. And I was trying to read through. I'm like, nope. I was like, the first sentence is fine. Second sentence was fine. And then it kept going. I'm like, oh, this can continue. Oh, I gotta pause here. Like
Yeah,
it can.
I can't even do like karaoke with a song that I
But
know.
that follows the
Yeah,
line.
I would have to do the song over and over again before I could like sing it. Right?
Oh, to
Like
find the rhythm.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I have to find the rhythm and I have to know at this time is when I say it. Like if it just gave me a song and told me to like sing it, there's no
Yeah.
way I could sing it like it.
You done well, pretty well drunk. It's fine.
Yeah, but like a lot of those songs I already know, right? Like
Oh,
if
that's
it was a
true.
song, a brand new song, and they gave me this stuff, I would be like, I don't know how to
Oh
sing.
yeah, the news the news things is different every day. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
the news is different, and that's like right there. Like I think they might have like a. I think the anchors they have that beforehand, but still like when they're doing it, it just
Yeah,
all comes up.
I think a lot of reporters write their own thing. I think when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
put it up there
But
though.
still,
But
it's
still
like
though,
the words are going fast, and
yeah,
they're going.
they're going at it.
They only
It's
have
super
certain
tough.
amount of time between commercial breaks.
We should bring Crystal on to ask her.
Yeah, bring her on. See if she can tell us. Like we'll have her do the TikTok challenge right here.
I want, yeah, I know, right? Or knowing that we should ask her, hey, show us your, any kind of bloopers that you have,
Have you
Tell
seen her like reel? She has like a YouTube reel.
I've not seen her YouTube real recently. I watched her when she did the Weather Channel stuff
Hmm.
and obviously back in Jacksonville, but not recently though.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it. Saw that. But yeah, she's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
why. Not no, she obviously she's just a professional. She's been doing it for so long
I
now.
know. Yeah, I
All
couldn't do
right,
it.
so let's play a little game. We're gonna end this podcast. So what I'm gonna have is we're gonna find out whether Robert thinks is this person a great communicator or not. And by the definition of a great communicator is that able to convey a message, persuade the audience, believing in them, and relate to them. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put a picture in the link. Robert's gonna click on the link, show the image, and he's gonna think whether this person is a great communicator or not. So we have about 6 or 7 of them. We'll keep it short.
Right.
All right. So here's the first one. Let me know what you think, Robert. You think this guy is a great communicator or he is not?
Oh, is this guy a good
A
communicator?
communicator, yes.
Was this guy named Peter?
Peter Griffin.
Peter
Peter
Griffin
Griffin from
from
Family
Family
Guy.
Guy. I think him as a character,
Yes.
not the best communicator, but but Family Guy's writers are really good
Are really good.
at
Yes.
how they portray every situation.
That's true.
But I
So
think
Peter Griffin.
he's just, I feel like he's too normal of a guy. He doesn't really.
So it's a mediocre communicator. You're saying?
Mediocre, probably, yeah.
All right. So let's go with the next character now.
All right.
So let's he's also a guy too as well, and let's see what you think of him.
Oh, Steve Kerr, the coach
Yes.
of the Warriors. I think
Yeah.
he's a great communicator.
Why do you say that?
I think he is great because he's very quick on his feet. When he's like going into interviews and stuff.
But he's also very careful with his word choices. To be honest, I feel like.
I think that's true, but there's a lot of times when he just like goes off the cuff and like says his jokes hit every time he throws.
He tells
one out.
jokes.
Oh my God, you haven't seen Steve Kerr tell jokes?
Yeah, I haven't seen Steve Kerr tell jokes.
There was a couple times. Oh, there was a.
Is he very high energy level guy? You think, or low energy level?
I think he's low energy but effective in communicating, right?
So people look at him, takes him seriously. He's saying.
Yeah. Did you? No. Have you seen the video of him talking about his last shot with Michael Jordan?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, so he has to convey so Michael Jordan. They had to rely on him to make that. And I remember he thought. I mean, actually during I think the speech, right? During I think it was.
It was like a championship speech, like when they
championship speech.
like
that's
when
right.
when they won the championship, the Warriors won the championship, and he was talking about how he played with Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan Michael Jordan was like,
he had to bail him out.
He was like, Michael, it was like the last shot. He's like, if it comes over, it's gonna come to him, and he's gonna have to shoot the ball. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna have to bail out Michael Jordan again.
That's
but
true.
I think he's very funny when he talks. He has a lot of good jokes.
All right, so he's a good communicator. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
How about this guy here?
Next guy up, Joseph Stalin.
Yes.
I don't think I've heard him. I don't think I've heard a speech from him.
But he has to be some kind of communicator.
I feel like
because
he's very good, though. He has to be very good to be able to get a whole population to follow him.
That's true. That is true, though. At least some kind of effectiveness behind it, right?
Yeah, he has to be effective just to get people to follow him. I feel like Hitler's the same way. Like he would have to be a good communicator so that people would like rally around him.
Okay, how about this guy?
Donald Trump. I feel like he's it's hard, right? Because he doesn't talk well, but I think he is effective communicator.
How? He doesn't. He tweets well at all.
I think he's effective in
relating
to the people that he wants to.
But how's that a great communicator? I guess. I mean, I guess it is. But obviously, like you say, he doesn't talk well.
Naturally, he's not like his speech is not great, right? It's
horrible.
His what is it called? Vocabulary and tweets in general aren't good, right?
That's true.
It's restricted. It's very restrictive.
His vocabulary is horrible.
But his vocabulary is not good, and like the way he says anything is not good at all. But
or extreme
somehow he relates to people. I don't know.
So you say he's a great communicator?
He's gotta be. I don't know.
This is recorded, by the way.
I'm gonna say he's medium because I feel like he has some parts of his communication style that really people
so he got
like connect with.
I see what you're saying. So he got enough people to connect with him to to become president. Yes, you can say that.
Yeah, even after presidency, we're all about it.
Okay. All right. How about the next guy?
Oh, Bieber.
Yeah, Justin Bieber.
Bieber fever. I don't think I've seen him in an interview.
But I feel like he's a great communicator. He's an artist. He's sing well. Obviously, he's get people to buy his music, right?
Yeah, he's a good artist, right?
But I think every artist is a good I feel like most artists are good communicator to a certain degree because obviously you're persuading people to buy your music, to follow you.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but a lot of it's. I mean, it could also be a lot of marketing and stuff, which.
Marketing is part of it, but you gotta fall in love with the craft first, though, and the creativeness and understanding where you're coming from, because you gotta relate that music to somebody else.
Yeah, but he doesn't always have to write his own music. I think he does, but
I think he does. Yeah,
like artists don't always write their own
that's
music,
true.
right? So
Well, we're talking about Bieber right now.
when we're talking about Bieber, I feel like it's. I would say he is. I would say he is, and he's been doing it for a long time.
That last song, "Lonely," that hit home with me. You know.
I know. Who thought that like singing about being super rich and being super rich and being like one out of one could be so relatable to so many people
in different style of life, different ages too.
Right, like him saying that he's like, I have everything in the world,
I'm still unhappy,
and I'm still unhappy. Like, how does that relate to people who don't have everything in the world, but they still feel that same loneliness, right?
Yeah. So I feel like that's actually effective communication, though, in a sense. So.
That's true, but then he has other songs that don't hit at all. So,
well, this guy's probably obvious answer, but I just want to double check with you.
Oh, Dave Chappelle.
Yes,
Dave Chappelle definitely is a great communicator. Every time it's every time he talks about anything, you want to know what he says, and you relate. He's very relatable.
I think not only that, I think it's another level up because he pushes the envelope of what to communicate and how he pushes the boundary of it for certain things. He tests the water on certain topics very closely, tiptoeing, and the way he does it.
Yeah, I guess he talks about a lot of stuff that like other people won't talk about.
Correct.
And he says it in a way that doesn't upset people.
But also at the same time, it's controversial to a certain degree, though. You know, if other people said it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if someone else was trying to say what he was saying, they wouldn't have gotten it. They wouldn't have gotten out there as the same way.
So I think in terms of level of comedy and the way pursuing topics of that, I think he's done really a great job of pushing that boundary and pushing that effectiveness of communicating.
Yeah, I agree. Very true.
All right. How about last person? Let's see what you think of her.
Oh, it's a girl. I think it's the first girl.
Yeah.
Dora the Explorer. What am I supposed to say, man? It's the same. It's the same as Peter Griffin, where like
no, what you think
he's
so?
Like it's a character, right? Like so this character.
But she's conveying messages to little kids though, and people is catching on to her.
That's true. I think she's a good communicator. Like, but she's written like someone wrote her.
That's true.
Versus the other people are.
But the character though, but she's speaking English and Spanish. You know.
That's true. That's true. She's communicating in multiple languages.
Yeah.
That people understand.
And relate to, you know.
That's
true.
Dora the Explorer.
All right, that's the game. Okay, cool. All right, just want to get your 2 cents on that.
What a game, Mike.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up this podcast episode with some rant. So, Robert, you want to start off with your rant?
Yeah, our free rage rant session.
Yes.
So my rant is, I went on this trip the other day. Came back and I had a rental car, so I dropped off the rental car and I had to get an Uber back for home. And Uber is really bad now. Like it just really sucks.
So what do you mean by bad suck? Does it take too long? Does it cost you too much money?
Yeah, it's both, right? So it used to cost around $30 to go to the airport from where I lived, right? Now it's minimum $35 and there's not enough cars on the road. So like,
is it because people still not working?
I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It might be that like people aren't doing the ride shares anymore, or like they're not like driving anymore.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it takes forever to get a car. I had to request I
when you say forever, it takes 30 minutes or like 10 minutes. Sorry, I got a little bit more.
it's so I ordered a car, right?
Yeah.
And I ordered Uber X, and it flipped me through 6 cars
Jesus.
before I canceled it and ordered an Uber luxury.
And how about Lyft? Did you do the Lyft too or no?
No, I don't use Lyft.
Oh, you know, it's Lyft. Okay, I just wondering.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't have. I don't think I have it on my phone.
That sucks. So it's just pricier and it's taking
Yeah, but like,
longer.
and through the six that they gave me, I think they just didn't have any X's, right? So then they kept on being like, "Oh, do you want like we have
Upgrade.
another car? We have another car. It's gonna cost you $35 to
Yeah.
$44, to get this car. Do you want to do it?" And I push yes, and then it moves on to the next car, and it pulls up a different car that's also in a higher price range. I was like, it did this 6 times,
So,
and
so
then
they try to scam you to get a bit higher scale level
no,
car.
but I said yes. I said okay, and then it would move on. It would it wouldn't even
Oh, it wouldn't give you the
accept
car.
it. It wouldn't give you the
Oh,
car. So then I
wow.
had to cancel it and then order the luxury, which was like $42, right? And then that came right away, but it was like also took 10 minutes to get there.
Jesus.
And I'm like, I'm at the airport. There should be
Ubers around.
Ubers everywhere.
Yeah, I feel because of the state. Did you hear about California extending the whole what's called the COVID thing? For
No, San Francisco's not.
no, California in general, they added that what's called the employment. They already passed that, didn't they?
Oh,
What
they added
the stipend, yeah, the
stimulus. Yeah.
this thing for the state of California.
So people aren't working because they got
Probably
$600 or
I
whatever.
mean, this happened in LA, man. Like I noticed in LA, late last year, I was just going to the airport, just pick up car rental again. Man, usually I can get an Uber Santa Monica in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I had to wait 35 minutes for Santa Monica just to go to the airport.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? And most people I mean, I get it, COVID's happening, but also people were not driving because it was easy money. They were making $700, So I
What
mean,
do you mean easy money?
like for them, but not to work, they rather not work and get that easy money.
Oh, it's get unemployment.
Yeah, I think it's like $600 a week, so something like that, something stupid. So
Yes, so
yeah,
man,
yeah,
sucks.
yeah. I know it's horrible. Like, but to be honest, I really think they need to snip it in the butt because I think it's gonna get worse. Like, I rather let them snip it in the butt and just force people to get back to work as soon as possible. But obviously, you gotta get a level of confidence up a little bit more and more. I think this is gonna happen this
But
summer.
also, like, not everything's open yet, so it's hard to
Yeah, that's true.
like be like go back to
Justify that.
work, but like not all the jobs are back or
Yeah.
not like people aren't rehiring now.
Well, it's the level of confidence as well, too, right? It's also going back to the office or going back to whatever. So it may be too many drivers, not enough people order Uber, right? So it could be the way around as well.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
that there's no one ordering Ubers, but I'm upset that like I had to roll through 6 cars before I got my car, and then I
Yeah.
had to pay, and the prices are
Ridiculous.
high. Like they're high now.
Yeah.
So
All right. So my rant is that today during improv class, we had to do a few acts, and one of them was singing.
oh,
And
you had to sing.
like we had to go to the rhythm of music and make some shit up, make a lyric up, and to try to match a word and a rhyme.
Oh
I'm like,
wow. So
I'm
you're
like,
like a rap battle type of like a
no. So you're like, so let me explain the game a little bit. So there's
okay.
six of us in the line, and you got to go with the rhythm of the song based on a name, but only has to be one syllable name that they pick from the audience. Let's say Tom, right? And then you have to come up with a sentence that ends with Tom, bomb, long, whatever it is, things like that. So, but I'm like, fuck that shit. I can't even
It has to
sing.
be you have to do a whole lyric.
A one sentence or one word
that ends with
yeah.
that word.
Yeah,
That's hard.
That's right. That rhymes with it. So you get a shitty name like Flint, Clint, Ben. I guess all the words with rhymes with Lind. What else words with rhyme Flint?
There's a lot of words that rhyme. It's like, have you seen Eminem talk about how he hates people saying orange isn't you can't rhyme anything with orange?
Yeah.
He's like I hate when people say that because when I think about it, I can think of a ton of things that rhyme with orange. You just have to change up like different things. Like he's a master at it, right? So
of course, yeah. But people who doesn't sing, who's not a rapper,
yeah.
super hard.
Like it's super hard. Yeah, I could see that. And like Wayne Brady does this type of thing all the time.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah.
But that's
and you got to do it in a tune. You got to do it with confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, there's so much stuff going on, and sometimes you have to do it 3 sentences in a row. I'm like, no, fuck that shit.
Wow, that's hard. That is
That's
a
really
hard
tough.
game. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know very many
But
people who could do it.
some people were good at it, and they were just natural. They were just really good at it. Like
You got to practice it for sure.
you gotta find that words with rhymes with every single I guess one word's name, one syllable names. And Tom,
I think I
Bill.
think people like people practice freestyling a lot, and they get better at it. There's one YouTube guy whose name is Harry Mack. He goes to like Santa Monica and like around LA, and he'll like put on some beats and then just start rapping about people in the streets, and he'll be recording it and he'll be on YouTube, and like you'll walk around and be like, oh, this girl in the blue shirt, and like just like call out people that are walking by and like just rapping the whole time.
That's so hard.
It's amazing. Like watching him is like crazy. He's so
I guess
good.
I guess freestyle rapping is a level of improv, right? So
Yeah,
it's
that's definitely like part of that whole
yeah, for sure.
that whole
Yeah,
thing.
I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this game at all.
Man, that's
Fuck
such a hard thing to do.
that.
I definitely couldn't do that.
Well, I'm not even a singer, so I was like, nope.
Not even a
I can
singer.
barely do the tune. I'm like, on a Monday, I met this guy named Bill. I'm like, fuck this. I can't even do the tune. Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant of the day. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, you all, learn a little bit about communication. We're trying to do our best as well. That's just why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, try to communicate as best as we can.
Yeah. All right, Robert. So, Carlos, let's take this home.
Yeah. So anybody out there, if you're watching us on YouTube, go smash that like button. Comment below. Tell us how you like or how your communication style is. If you're good at it, if you could give us any tips, give us tips. We need some tips, right?
We definitely use some tips for sure. We're not perfect at this.
Yeah. Check out our other videos if you want to. We also have all of our videos on our website, gfotoughts.com. And if you're on one of the podcast apps, Apple Podcasts or Spotify or something, leave us a rating and comment over there.
Yeah, please leave us a review. Make sure to subscribe as well. And if you want us to talk about any other topics or you want to come on, let us know, please.
Yeah, let us know. We'll see you.
All right. Until next time. Thanks, everybody. Stay easy.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Gluten-Free Organic Thoughts podcast. As always, we appreciate you. If you are watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and leave us a comment. If you are listening to us, please leave us your honest review on your preferred podcast listening platform. And as always, you can find us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GFOThoughts. Drop a comment and give us some feedback. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, see you then.